I'm Mary Beth Jacobs. This is video 3 of 3 for the Learn Something New Spit and Splice in Winter 2017 cast on for TKGA. In this particular video, I'm going to show you the third method of spit and splice in that article that attempts to control not only where the yarn change occurs, but also better controlling the weight of the yarn on either side of the splice. So to do this third method, I'm going to knit to where I want the color change to occur. Clear this way. In this case, I knit halfway across my swatch, and I'm going to cut the yarn source bluntly about 1 inch back. Again, I want to make sure that the tension of the stitches on my needle is consistent. And then I'm going to take this little tail and I'm going to untwist it so that I pull off half of the ply. In this case, it's a 4-ply worsted weight, so I'm going to pull off 2 of the 4-ply. And again, I am going to cut half of those ply, and I'm going to do it about 1 millimeter or 2 back behind the stitch. Now I'm going to take my new yarn source, again a 4-ply worsted weight, and I'm going to unravel half of the ply, in this case 2. So there's half. And I'm not going to do it just 1 inch, I'm going to actually go about 2 inches, about double. There we go. And I am going to cut half of those ply pretty bluntly. So there are my prepared yarns, the new color and the old. To make the join, I have to unknit the old color back. And I want to do this roughly 3 to 4 inches thereabouts. You need a little bit more length for this particular one. That seems about good. All right, so now this is where we have to pay attention. Remember, I cut right here on half of those ply where in my knitting, this is where I want my yarn change to occur. Okay, this signifies behind the stitch of where I want the yarn change to occur. So I want to make sure I mark that. I don't want to lose where that point is. And so I'm going to mark that by simply taking this longer half of the ply and folding it over. And the point of the fold is going to match up with where I had cut half the ply. So I haven't done anything, I just folded it over to mark that point in my knitting. Okay. Now, I'm going to take the ply, half the ply that I had cut originally, and I'm going to unravel it further. And I'm going to unravel it until it lines up with where the other half of the ply, the folded half, ends. Okay. And you see I did that, and I'm going to ever so carefully cut that bluntly. Okay. So now what do I have? I have half of my ply that's longer, and when I fold that half of the ply in half and join it up to that blunt end, the point of the fold, that's the point at which in my knitting I want my yarn change to occur. Okay, so now I'm ready to make my splice. So I'm going to do that first. I have to do the wetting part. So I'm going to do that quickly. A quick pass through the mouth. It doesn't have to be sopping wet, just enough. Now I'm going to take these 2 yarns and I'm going to fold my yarn A, my original yarn, back upon itself, meeting the ends of the cut ply together. You see I make a nice little loop. And then I'm going to take my new one and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fold it back so that the cut ply meet up. Okay. You can see it ends up making a nice interlock there. And I'm going to ever so carefully lay that, come on now, lay that in my palm. You got to line up there, buddy. There we go. Get that. There we go. Sometimes you just need a little bit of a, okay, there we go. I'm going to give it some friction and heat. Okay, and then I'm gonna take my little fingers and get those ends nice and tacked down. Got some weirdness there. Okay. All right, so there is my join. 4-ply on either side of the join. Now let's knit it up. Knitting it up is probably the most difficult part of the whole process because you tend to want to knit a little tighter on the way back because the yarn is a little tacky from being wet. You just want to take your time and make sure you get it right. Sometimes it helps to hold the stitch in place because you'll want to pull more than you normally would just because of that little bit of dampness. Okay. Let's finish this up. Now to the dry part, and it's really getting slick. All right, there we go. Let's see what we have here. Here we go on the needle. We have 2 stitches right next to each other where they're in same number of ply. They have 1 stitch in one color, the next one in the next color. From the back, you can see that the color change occurs behind the stitch. It's going to stay on the back side of the fabric. Here's one that was done earlier, right there. And you can see that the yarn on this side and that side both have 4-ply. And again, from the back side, the color change sits back below on the wrong side. Okay. So hopefully through this Learn Something New article and the videos, you've learned a new way to join in yarns. You've learned a way to do it with precision so that you can use it for techniques such as color work and also for just other projects in general. Have a good day. Thanks.